so desperate on my knees to break. And I hear the voice of an angel telling me not to lay down. And I feel the spirit guiding, telling me not to give up. Hold on to every promise I've been praying for.
Good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to TT Masters League Division 1 round number 10, which takes us to the United States Grand Prix for a race around Austin. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box for TT Masters League, he's got a 100% record, unlike one person in the commentary box. It's the lovely, the fantastic, the amazing Mr. James Head. James, you join us here for the United States Grand Prix. I'm back. Welcome back, me. And we jump straight into a race where the championship could be won tonight.
It could be won tonight. Obviously, Medium Pilot leading the standings on 180 points. Calsper second on 148. We'll get to the championship permutations, though, in just a bit. But it's nice to have you back in the commentary box. Where have you been?
I've been here, there, and also everywhere. I've been here and I have not been here. But what I have missed out are two great races. I know our interim commentary team able to help you out there, James, and you must have had some great experiences with them in the box as well.
Yeah, fantastic, obviously, to have the...
So desperate on my knees to break. And I hear the voice of an angel telling me not to lay it down. And I feel the spirit guiding, telling me not to give up. Hold on to every promise I've been praying for.
Unfortunately, my game just decided to pack in, and I think a couple of others as well. So a bit of a crash on my end. Hopefully, I'll be able to rejoin the lobby sooner rather than later. In fact, I just say that, and the lovely James Head has given me another invite. But we do apologise for those technical difficulties. We are back now, and before we were so rudely interrupted, James, we were talking about how the championship permutations might be looking tonight.
Yeah, championship permutations are quite simple, to be honest. With Vietnam not being run, Medium Pilot can win the championship here tonight if, and only if, he wins the race and Calsper finishes second. That's how to think of it. There's plenty of other permutations. If Calsper wins, then we enter a whole horde of kettle of fish, to be honest, I think, in terms of championship permutations for next week if that happens. But I noticed that Calsper is actually missing currently. So, Medium Pilot might have just been handed this championship on a plate before it's even begun.
Well, that could be a case, but what you've got to remember is as well that I think I've had an issue already in this stream. We haven't really basically even kick-started, but yeah, I'm hoping and keeping my fingers crossed that everybody can jump into the lobby here tonight and treat ourselves to a fantastic race. I'm sure of that. And there is Medium Pilot, though, in the Williams. And he's looking to try and take the first or the inaugural TT Masters League Division 1 title to try and put himself in the record books, in the history books, I should say, because that will be the case. Looking at the other standings then, James, it's becoming very apparent, actually, that it might not be a case of if Medium Pilot can win, it's when. He's at the top of the table, 180 points compared to Calspur's 148. Perpetuum there in third place on 142. He is in the lobby right now. He really needs to get a move on as well. He's 6 points off of Calspur, which means he's I roughly, off the top of my head, 38 points. Is that right? 38 points off the championship lead. So he could be a rank outsider for sure. But you've also got Josh there on 136. Now he is 44 points behind. Again, not totally out of it, considering 30 points is scored for the race winner, 2 points for pole position, don't forget that as well. That could really extend the championship lead beyond those like Recon here, who's on 95 points. I think for Recon it is championship over, the maximum he can score from this position, even if he were to get the fastest lap of the race, even if he were to get pole position, if he were to get those coveted 30 points for a race win. That's still 33 points a race, 66 points. It's simply not enough to catch our championship leader. So he is out of the championship hunt. So mathematically, 4 drivers go into this race with a chance of winning the championship. But at the end of this race, only one of them could win this championship. It's certainly hotting up to be an exciting end to this season. But one thing you should note as well is how, on the flip side, the constructors' standings is looking right now. Williams, who are at the top of the driver standings in Medium Pilot, are only third place in the Constructors' Championship. 180 of the 217 points that Williams have been scored by Medium Pilot. Those ahead of him, those ahead of the Williams are Mercedes on 278 and Ferrari on 245. And it's slowly but surely looking like it could be a two-horse race to get this Constructors' standings. Now, of course, when it comes to the Constructors' standings, you get 55 points maximum for result, 2 points for pole position, plus the fastest lap bonus points. So we're looking at 58 points is the maximum that a team can score in a race. So, you know, Williams really do need a good race behind them to get themselves back up the order. But from the looks of it, it looks like Medium Pilot is trying to carry them here to at least a top 3 finish.
Yeah, Medium Pilot is going to have to fend for himself by the looks as well, with Darkbolt, his teammate, missing. And as you say, Medium Pilot has wrapped up most of the championship points for Williams, and that's why they're down in third position, because Darkbolt's only scored 27 points for Williams this season. So it's going to be really interesting to find out. I think Mercedes and Ferrari have just been 2 more consistent, I think, than the Williams teams. Josh, Perpetuum, Calspur and Recon respectively out on track doing their business in terms of the constructors, but also in terms of the drivers as well. And if you remember, if anybody remembers TTL F1 last season, Calspur took the win and had already wrapped up the championship at this point. Recon was second and Thomas was third. We might see a different result, I think, compared to that tonight.
I think we will, with it all to play for, with a couple and a handful of drivers still able to win this race. It should be a good championship fight to the end, with Medium Pilot at the helm, ready to try and wrap up this championship here tonight. He can do it. The way he can do it, though, win the race. It's as simple as that. If he wins this race, he will be your new champion of TT Masters League. So it really is all to play for here tonight. When it all comes down to it, he's a good, sizable lead ahead. And this could be his chance. 32 points in the lead, a chance to make that at least 62 if his other rivals fall foul of anything. So this really is his chance to get himself up the table and away from everybody else mathematically and pretty much in the championship order, able to try and wrap up this championship here tonight. But without further ado, let's get the penultimate round of TT Masters League underway. Let's get to it right now. The typical howdy is said here at Texas for the 10th round of TT Masters League Division number 1 for the first season here, and it takes us to this penultimate round at the United States Grand Prix here at the fantastic Circuit of the Americas, where it is all to play for here, a champion here at COTA. And as you can see, in a decisive qualifying session here tonight, could be another 2 points on the cards and make that lead even more comfortable at the top.
Yeah, this is really Medium Pilot's chance at a victory out on track, but not only for himself, but for the championship as well. He's been in the best possible position, I think, so far this season in terms of the action out on track. And Medium Pilot's just been so consistent. He had that DNF, remember, in Italy last time out, where obviously he got caught up in a collision. And it was unfortunate for him, but that is why he picked up no points, and that is why we have the championship permutations as they are now. Josh, Venom, Recon, the first three out on track. It'll be really very interesting to see, I think, how these guys get on. We have got a new driver as well. I'm a D. That is not the go at anyone. That is his name. I'm a D. He's in the Haas, the Scotsman, joining for his first race with only 2 rounds to go in the season.
Well, what a time to make your debut. A little bit of no pressure applied here as well. The team aren't expecting much of you this season because, of course, it's a bit too late to try and push for a championship in this late stage. However, that doesn't mean you can make your mark or you can't make your mark. I mean, we've seen time and time in the past, especially in TTL, debuts are one thing to master and drive on as he is hoping for a good result here tonight. But what do you expect from Perpetuum here in the Mercedes then, James?
Perpetuum, I think, has just got to try and remain consistent as possible, I think. He's got a good chance of the win, don't get me wrong. I think Perpetuum just really needs to lay it all on the line, but not overdo it too much for him to try and get on for a good lap here, certainly in qualifying and indeed in the race. Josh, however, has just started the lap.
He has indeed, as we now make our way through this edge section. It's well, one of those where you try and take it flat out here. You don't have to think about braking for quite some time there as we now make our way through. It's just trying to make sure you get through there. But yeah, he has invalidated the lap. That's why he's backed out of it as he makes way over the crest and onwards now towards that left-hander of turn 10. But hopefully that's not a story of things to come. We have seen from Josh the first couple of laps are normally invalidated for him as we run on board with Killer Blue going through that same S section. As you can see there, a little bit of understeer through the middle of that right-hander. Completely normal though as the aero tries to fight that change of direction in order to get you the grip to make it through those corners. Killer Blue then is currently on a flying valid lap as he now makes his way down towards that tight and heavy braking zone of the left-hander, now going down the back straight. DRS will be online here from the third lap of this race. It's activated all the way through qualifying so long as it's dry, and you're coming up to one of the most overtaking opportunities, or the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit, down here in towards turn 11. And yeah, it's going to be one of those chances and one of those times where you really got to use the DRS to your advantage and try and launch it down the inside, and then it invites you to go side by side through this stadium section, and we come towards Max Verstappen corner, I like to call it. I'm discouraged from calling it that, but that's strong memories of Max Verstappen at that corner there as we now head towards turns 19 and 20. Recon, by the way, 29.7. He was on a valid lap in the Ferrari, currently fourth in the championship, unfortunately mathematically out of the championship hunt. And Killer Blue, 130.0, only 3/10 off of Recon's best lap time. Calspur, one of the championship protagonists, 29.7, only 200th off of his teammate.
Yeah, and Medium Pilot invalid on his first lap as well. He's just coming down in towards turn 12. But Recon, I was right on board with him on that lap. Fantastic commitment going through all of the turns. He was the only one, actually, of the first 4 drivers out on track not to set an invalid first sector. He's just been vetted, though, by Perpetuum by 1/10.5 of a second. He goes to the top of the pile. Absolutely.
29.5 from the Mercedes driver. Neo, meanwhile, has put in a 130.2 in the Haas as he now makes his way in through turn 1. And it's such an intriguing corner, that turn 1. It's uphill on the entry and it is quite a steep incline towards turn 1. Medium Pilot, though, retires from this qualifying session. So no further part then from Medium Pilot. Is he? I'm wondering if he wants to go for an alternate tyre strategy. Either that, or there's something he knows that we don't.
I think it's a last to first challenge, possibly. Might be trying to risk it all and take it to the final round of the season, I wonder. He tried to do this, I think, in Italy last time out, where he got caught up in an incident. He shouldn't try and replicate things 2 weeks in a row, but he has retired from the session in the pit lane, which is more important didn't crash coming through the final corner. I think Coginio and Bianchi are on that. Bianchi, interestingly, on a set of medium compound of tyres, now coming through Max Verstappen corner, as you say, the triple right through 16, 17 and 18, now through 19. Good commitment through there as he now comes down up towards turn 20 up the hill. And the elevation change around 80 metres here in America, comes across the line, 31.3, inevitably he will improve on that. But 9/10 of a second separating the top 6 who have currently set lap times.
Yeah, and Bianchi, the first driver to set their best lap time on the medium tyre, and it's going to be one of those races where qualifying on the medium tyre might actually benefit you going forward. Obviously, we know that COTA doesn't really appreciate these hard tyres. It really does encourage you to go aggressive with your strategy, but then it really turns on you because these high-speed corners followed by heavy braking zones really do take everything out of the tyres that it possibly can. So we could be seeing 2 stops here tonight.
We could be seeing 2 stops here tonight. Schiaparelli has joined the session. Just saw him in the comments section there asking for an invite. So it's good to see him back from last week. And yeah, I think the 2-stop strategy is probably going to be the one to go for. Obviously, the set of soft compounded tyres, I think you can only carry them around 5 or 6 laps before you end up coming into the pit lane. And then the decision is, do you go for a set of hards to the end, or do you risk it for a 2-stop strategy, go mediums to the end, or mediums to softs to the end as well? Be really interested to find out. Betam on top, Recon second, and Kalsper in third, as Josh and Venom are on laps.
They are indeed, as Bianchi now makes his way around that long right-hander then of 15, 16 and 17 as we now go in towards turn 19, but Bianchi decides to come back into the pit lane. Of course, he's just set a flying lap, so no worries for him. He now makes his way back into the pit lane. Schiaparelli is well and truly in this session now. He's into this qualifying session, and here he goes then out onto track in the Racing Point as he makes his way out of the pit lane and subsequently leaves the session. That's not a good sign, but at least he's here, so he will actually be able to start this race because his car is there. So that's at least a good sign.
It is a good sign, and Schiaparelli actually has been driving really well, I think, over the last couple of weeks. I've been covering him in League of Europe on a Saturday, and his pace has been really good within qualifying, so it'll be very interesting to see how he can really put it up against these guys out on track if he gets the chance to do a full flying lap. I hope he does, because honestly, I think he could challenge Papetum for that pole position.
Well, we can find out. Here comes Venom then, making his way through the penultimate corner, then going in towards the final corner. And Venom now in that Renault, making his way towards the start-finish line. What sort of lap time can he set down? It's a 1:30.7 from the Renault, 3/10 off of his teammate, and gets the 7th fastest lap time on the board. Schiaparelli has rejoined this session, but because he left the session while still in the pit lane, his car's been teleported and transported back to the garage straight away. Now, what does that mean then? Does that mean that set of tyres is now used? Does it mean they're fresh? Because I would say that that's those tyres used now, and they'll have a bit of wear on them as we make our way through. Meanwhile, Imadi is making his way through the left-hander, going in towards that turn 15, I believe that is. Sorry, 16, as we had through 17 and 18. No, I was right, because this is 3 corners, it classes it as. That's right, as we now make our way through 19. Imadi there taking that IndyCar line, going through turn 19 by using all of that curve on the outside. You're not actually supposed to do that because you get those corner cut warnings and those penalties come through if you run too far wide on that right-hand side curb. Coginio, meanwhile, again, his lap time has been invalidated as he makes his way down in towards turn 10. And now he makes his way down the back straight to try and at least get a lap time on the board.
Recon 600s up in the middle sector on his lap time. He's only got to find a 10th to challenge Papetum.
Well, let's see what he can do then. Riding on board with the Ferrari then, heading our way through that treble right-hander. Trying to keep all that grip through there, through 16, 17 and 18. Using all that curb on the left-hand side on entry. Got a big amount of understeer going through 19. Managed to gather it up, but now heading through turn 20 and onwards towards that start-finish line. He improves on his time, but can't improve on position. Stays in P2 and improves by 0.04 of a second. 129.6 now for Recon.
Yeah, he missed the apex coming through turn 19 then. I think that cost him a 10th of a second at least, I think. So he could have actually found the time on Papetum. He's within a 10th of a second on him. but with 7 minutes to go, it's still all to play for. Carlsberg back into pits after invalidating. Neo ran the final corner to prepare up for another lap. It seems he's invalid, and he comes across the line 29.9, so would have improved 3/10 of a second. Navy on a clean lap, and I think Bianchi has just started the lap as well.
Well, this is going to be an important session now for Perpetum. 32 points behind his championship rival. If he gets pole position, that gap gets scythed down to 30, and then it's not as easy for Medium Pilot to walk away with this one. So Perpetum knows that this is a crucial qualifying session. He's currently at the top of the table by just over 1/10 of a second, and he's now currently making his way down towards turn 10, trying to get this lap as clean as possible. Just over 6.5 minutes to go then, and we see Perpetum down the back straight, DRS wide open now as it's that run down towards turn 11. All you can do now is just keep that throttle pedal down and hope that you can get some gains here. Braking heavily now into this left-hander. Great overtaking opportunities we've already discussed. Now it's the time where you can go side by side going all the way through here. It's quite bizarre, I know, but you can. Purple through sector 2 for Perpetum in the Mercedes here, trying to hook that little bit of a corner up there as we now head our way through that treble right-hander. Once again, 16, 17 and 18 come at you so quickly, and he's hooked that car up perfectly through 19. Keep it on the line there. He has done that. Now going through turn 20, using that curb to open up the corner, well within track limits. He makes way towards the line. 29.1 improves by 0.4 of a second. Great lap time there from Perpetum.
Fantastic lap from Perpetum, and do you know what? That is going to take the beating now. 0.5 of a second he's put out the gap to Recon. Have you ever seen Perpetum so dominant in a qualifying session before in Division 1 this season? I don't think you have.
Well, Chapelele, he was going to set a lap time, ran too wide on the exit of 19. We're going to see that happen a lot in this race, but it doesn't really matter because you can just head straight back out. He hasn't set a lap time so far, so let's see what he can do.
Yeah, he hasn't, and he's looking quite good. He was 24 flat through the first sector, crossed turn 12 very nicely indeed. Through the middle sector, he is flying actually on this lap. He's going to be going maybe theoretically second, I think, out on track, as Armadi now comes through into turn 15, and then in towards 16, 17 and 18, this triple right-handed corner which awaits the drivers out on track, now through 16, 17, and then into 18, now through 19. Got to hook up these last two turns to make sure the lap is valid. This is looking really good from Armadi. Might not get another chance though to set another lap, but Armadi round the final corner, could go second with this. Third, just shy of Recon by 0.03 of a second, but a very good lap time, and that's a very good debut for qualifying as well. Top second down to sixth, by the way, separated by less than 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, and I wonder if he just went out on that lap just a little bit later. We know how the track evolves towards the end of the session, and if it's dry like this, it really does evolve. You can find 2-3 of a second just like that if you time your run right. Venom, meanwhile, is locking up there big time in towards 15, but he's got the apex there, and he'll absolutely take that one through these long right-handers then of 16, 17 and 18 on towards 19 here, using that curb on the entry there, trying to widen the corner. Not too much a curb on the exit of 19, mind you, as we now make our way through 20. Onwards now towards that start-finish line. DRS wide open here. Venom half a second quicker, but it can't get him further up the table. Stays in P9.
Yeah, he hooked up the lap. I'm not sure about the first sector, but he certainly hooked up the middle and the final sector as he cuts across the track there coming through turn 1. But Venom goes 9th. He's behind Neo. Neo expect him to improve fivefold, I think, on that lap time. Don't expect him to go sub 1 minute or anything like that before you coming at me in the comment section. But Neo, I think, could land himself a good qualifying spot if he was to set another lap. 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. These guys, the majority of which I think should be coming out in the next minute or so.
Yeah, we've got Coutinho, meanwhile, who's making his way now towards turn 19, trying to get some heat into those tyres, last-minute heat in the tyres as he now makes his way onwards towards turn 20, and a chance for him to set a lap time on the board. Hasn't done so just yet, but now he makes his way onwards towards that start-finish line and trying now to set a fast lap time to at least get himself up the order just a little bit. How far up the order can he go then? In towards turn 1, trying to get that apex there and reduce the wheel spin on the exit. Now down the hill through turn 2, picking up that curve on the inside, which can help the car steer in through 3, through 4, then through turn 5, through turn 6, until you have to start thinking about even going down the gears in towards 7 and 8. as you now make your way up the hill now in through turn number 9 and down the hill now through 10 and towards the braking zone of turn number 11. Braking hard then again, using that curb on the outside there, managing to keep the wheel just inside of that white line as Venom retires from the session. There's no time for him to get a lap time on the board. Coutinho here now onto the back straight. Imadi retires from the session from 3rd place. He can't get a lap time on the board, at least another one on the board anyway, as Coutinho now makes his way in towards turn 12. He's got Recon right there, drawn an outlap, looking to try and make some moves here, as Coutinho did briefly go purple. I wonder if that was just a time that's quick, but not the quickest of the session. Coutinho here having to try and fight this car through the middle sector. Now we head in towards these final couple of corners. Now on the exit of 18, towards the entrance of 19, trying to pick up some curb, but he's taken way too much curb on the inside, and all that chance of a good lap time is thrown up into the air. He'll try and go again, but on already worn tyres, how much fuel does he have? Can he go again? I don't know. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, he can go again. He's on 50% of ERS, which is more concerning, I think, than actual. He's missed the apex as well, coming through turn 1. Just running on board, I'm just trying to see who's next to come across the line. Calsper on an outlap. There was a Mercedes coming around an outlap as well. Josh is through the middle sector. We've got Bianchi possibly on a lap as well. He's invalidated though, so I don't think he's going to be improving at all. I'm unsure who's next to come across the line. I think it might be Josh.
Could be. Well, we've got...
even.
Well, Recon is also out there on a flying lap. He's just gone purple through Sector 1. He's looking to try and get this 2 points off of Perpetuum here. 4th place in the championship for Recon. We already know, James and I know how quick he is on his day. He's just been sort of out of tune this season, but if he can try and put in some performances, no doubt he can put himself back up in that running and show everybody what they've been missing. Now braking hard down in towards turn 12. Bianchi crosses the line. 5th place for the Alpha Tauri driver. Then you got Chapelele coming across the line. Invalidated the lap. Won't count, and he'll start from outside of the top 10. Not the end of the world, though, because you get free choice of tyre. Going into that one. Josh retires from the session not having set a lap time whatsoever, so Medium Pilot actually starts in the top 10 on any tyre he likes. Navy comes across the line, 29.7 from the Renault driver, puts himself up to 4th place ahead of Carlsberg right now, but all eyes on Recon as he makes his way through that final corner. A bit of a lock up on entry, but he won't care about that. DRS wide open. Can he take pole position? No, he can't. Improves by 0.2 of a second, but it's not enough. Perpetuum is able to hold on for now. Coutinho jumps into the pit lane. He will find no improvement whatsoever and will start outside of the top 10. Perpetuum, meanwhile, has gone even quicker through the middle sector, but he's invalidated his lap time, so he won't have any improvement whatsoever on that 29.1. Just having a look around and seeing if there's anyone else who could be on an improvement. Killer Blue makes his way through the final corner, but his lap time is also invalidated. How about Neo as he makes his way towards the line? 30.2 to beat 29.5 from XL Neo, puts him onto the 2nd row of the grid. A great lap time there from the Haas driver, and not too far off of Recon's best lap time in this session. But with all the cars either in the pits or taking the checkered flag, it's 2 points to Perpetuum. A crucial 2 points for Perpetuum, because the championship lead after this qualifying session comes down to 30 points.
Which is great, and Perpetuum obviously taking pole position quite nicely, I think, by about 0.3 of a second. Chapelele, however, set a 29.2 on his invalid lap, so he would have went 2nd.
Well, there is your qualifying results then. Perpetuum taking pole position by 1/4 of a second ahead of Recon. Neo in 3rd with Imadi in 4th. It's a Haas 3-4. A great qualifying session for the American team at their home race. Navy in 5th place with Carlsberg in 6th. Alpha Tauri line up 7th and 8th. Bianchi out qualifying Killer Blue. Venom in 9th place as the last driver to set a lap time. Medium Pilot we saw retire very early on his own accord. Starts in P10, but because he didn't set a lap time on any tyre whatsoever, that will be a free choice of tyre he gets. Chapelele, Coutinho and Josh, try as they might, didn't get a lap time on the board there. Weirdly enough, Chapelele does have a couple of dots next to his name, whereas everybody else had no time next to their name. So that implies that he did cross the line as an invalid lap time rather than come into the pit lane. So that's what that implies anyway. But the championship lead comes down to 30, James. But really, for Medium Pilot, what he's got to do is pretty simple. It's to get to the front of this race, isn't it?
It is to get to the front of the race, and it's to outscore Perpetuum and to outscore Carlsberg, more importantly, as well. Papetin, remember, with that 2 points for pole position, has taken the gap now down to Carlsberg to 4 points, I do believe, instead of 6. So that is now going to be quite an interesting battle for second to watch out for also within this race. But Medium Pilot, who I thought was going to go last the first challenge, plenty of drivers behind him invalidated. He's starting 10th, so that's a little bit beneficiary. He's just got to be careful of getting caught in any incidences that might happen, which he did in Italy, and then look what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget as well, we do have merch. If you want to go and head over to stickemup.store/TTG Esports, you can find all the latest merch there from Stickemup. So make sure you get those hoodies, those hats, those little decals. Maybe not for your PS4, maybe for your PS5. How about that? It looks good, honestly. White with the white and blue logo. It'll look fantastic. So make sure you go and check out the store there. In the meantime, though, we're on to our formation lap. Papetin leads the way from Recon and Neo. 3 drivers to watch. Papetin at the front of the field. Carlsberg in 6th. Medium Pilot down there in 10th place. Those are your championship protagonists. And at the moment, Papetin here obviously gaining those 2 points. And as your predicted pit stop strategy, 2 stops all the way. But weirdly enough, both of them pitting on the same lap for their 3rd stint, but both on different tyres. So that's a bit of a strange one. So I'm expecting then soft, medium to try and really get this aggressive strategy down to a T. Outside of the championship protagonists here are a couple of drivers to watch. Neo in particular, 3rd place in this qualifying session so far for him, and has already had 2 podium finishes in his short time here in TT Masters League. He'll be looking to try and make it 3 here at the United States Grand Prix. Unfortunately, no Legend, but he was also one to watch as well. 7 race starts for him. It's been a bit of a patchy season for Legend. We know he's a driver of good quality. Just unfortunate it hasn't been his season so far, but hopefully we'll see him back in the TT Masters League Division 1 racetrack soon, and hopefully we'll see him putting those and churning those results out before you know it. Medium Pilot, though, in 10th place. And if you know our alternate point scoring system by now, you'll know that Medium Pilot has every single chance of making his way up the order and taking this championship fight. To correct myself, it's Carlsberg who's second in the championship, not Papetin, which means the championship gap stays at 32. So Medium Pilot here really just needs to do what he does best and put the lap times down there to try and get himself up the order. Just to go through the tyres very quickly, top 9 obviously set their fastest lap time on those tyres, so they will have to start them. The Medium Pilot didn't set a lap time. That means he gets free choice of tyre for whatever he wants. He's chosen the hard tyres to go for this one. Meanwhile, Chapalele and Coutinho and Josh go on to the medium tyres. Quickly in 10 seconds, Mr. James, who's your top 3?
Top 3, Recon for the win, Carlsberg second, Papetin third.
Well, here we go then. Let's see how right that is towards the end of this race. We are moments away from the United States Grand Prix and the penultimate round of TT Masters League. We now await the signal to start this race in those 5 red lights. We're underway in Austin. What are the start side? Great start from Papetin. Recon bogs down slightly off the line. Can Neo try and take advantage? Meanwhile, look at Carlsberg. Got a rocket start in towards turn 1, but he's made contact with his teammate and loses a chunk of front wing going all the way through. And that could be a championship deciding moment. Meanwhile, Neo and Recon going side by side into 3. Little bit of contact there, but Recon makes his way through. And that is Neo down into 3rd place where he started. But for Carlsberg, nightmare. That's exactly what he didn't want. A bit of front wing off there, and he'll try and get this car through the stint, but something tells me he'll have to come in and get that nose change. He'll just be losing too much downforce, and especially in this early part in the race, losing too much grip as well. Meanwhile, there is the Williams there of the championship leader in Medium Pilot, looking to try and get up the order, but he's gone down to 13th place, albeit he is on those hard tyres, so it's kind of understandable that he has a bit less grip than normal. But we're going too wide, then the 2 Renaults are going side by side. Venom and Navy having a little bit of a battle with the Renault team bosses pulling their hair out on the sides here. They do not want those 2 cars to collide. Meanwhile then, IMD and Bianchi going side by side now, and that is Bianchi managing to hold the inside line going in towards 15. He's held on to that beautifully and holds on to 7th place. Meanwhile, Bianchi's teammate Killer Blue obviously dropping a couple of positions at the start of this race, now making his way in towards 19. He'll want to get past IMD. In fact, IMD Well, Haas started 3rd and 4th in this race. Imadi is down to 8th place, so not a great start. Kalsper, 2nd in the championship, but 1st into the pit lane to get that front wing changed. Other than that, though, Perpetuum leads the way from Recon and Neo. That's your top 3, with the other championship protagonist in medium pilot apparently here being classified as 6th, but we know he's at the back of the field.
Yeah, he's down in 12th position. Very good start from everyone. Kalsper just completely misjudged his braking point going up the hill in towards turn 1. And that's why you saw him make contact with Recon, his teammate. And Recon fought past Neo for the 2nd position out on track as well. It's going to be really interesting to see. Perpetuum, though, Recon 2nd, Neo in 3rd. And I'm afraid to say I think my prediction is already going down this morning.
Well, I don't think you could have predicted that. Ferrari making contact with his teammate there. Recon looks like he's got away scot-free, though, by the way, and it looks like his car's in pristine condition to try and challenge, maybe even for the win and the lead of this race. Meanwhile, the Navy on the back of Venom here. There you can see there's a bit of an update to the predicted pit stop strategy. Some drivers might be thinking about the hard tyres here, one stopping in this race. That's what the graphic has come up with, at least on board with Navy, as he makes his way now through those right-handers, now going down towards that left-hander of turn 15. Might be one to be on the cards if you find yourself stuck in traffic.
Yeah, Venom, I think, has just got to be careful. Obviously, out in front of Navy, the two teammates do not want to collide. We've already seen that once with the Ferraris so far in the race, as Venom runs really wide coming out of turn 19. We can already see, actually, a little bit of blistering beginning to occur on the rear right tyres are right on board with Navy on Venom's car. So Navy will be hoping to try and get the DRS down the back straight to come back past him. But Venom has dropped, 2.8 seconds now, the gap to Neo? Last time I looked, it was 1.2.
Yeah, no indication of team orders here whatsoever. This is absolutely battle on the field, battle out on the track. As you can see now, the Renaults are making their way through that high-speed section here. You can see that Venom is struggling, and that's Navy's invitation to try and go round the outside, and that's a fantastic move from Navy. Saw the weakness in his teammate, took full advantage as they now go in through turn 10 and onwards now towards turn 11. You can see there Venom struggling for grip this early on in this race. Navy decided to take an alternate line and takes full advantage, now moves up into 4th.
But this is going to give him actually a bit of a disadvantage running down the straight. If Venom is wise enough, he can use the overtake well up to good effect. But actually, he's defending up Bianchi. He's going to the inside line. The AlphaTauri sails on by. Could he get 2 for 1? No. He gets Venom, though, and he's up into 5th position. Fantastic move by Bianchi. Venom had to cut across to try and defend. He didn't cut across fine enough. Bianchi through and he's up to 5th.
Yeah, and I have to say Venom is really struggling here. You can see Imadi is now all over him as they head through 15, and you can already see the back to the rear tyres on that Renault are not delivering the same performance as other cars around him. And Imadi here looking to try and take full advantage. If you're on the medium tyres, you get the popcorn out. You're watching some great battling, and also you're not putting to bad use those soft tyres. You've got them later on in this race. Let the other drivers wear out their soft tyres. Maybe you could try and nip in with the advantage later on. That is, if you're not one stopping, of course. If you don't choose the hard tyres later on in this race, that could be an option for you if that 2-stop is open for you. Shapalele, meanwhile, of course, joined late in, managed to get himself onto the grid. Didn't set a lap time in qualifying, though. Started down in P12, I believe it was in the end. And Shapalele now finds himself up into 9th place on those medium tyres, looking to try and take advantage of other drivers ahead of him. But as you can see here, riding aboard now with Imadi, he got right up close and personal with Venom's gearbox there, James.
Yeah, really close up and personal. And I saw that from a far side camera angle as well, so it was really tight at the action out on track. Killer Blue has just got to be careful as well. He's getting into this quite nicely. Imadi now using up the overtake mode to try and sail on by Venom, and I'm afraid to say it's going to be a one-horse scenario, I think, in this case, as Imadi sails on by Venom, pretty much as if he wasn't even there. And he's through, and he's up to 6. Killer Blue dives down the inside. He might be at university, but goodness me, that was a dive bomb and a half from somebody who would be a fresher. Venom turns into him, though. Killer Blue goes out wide, and Chapelelli gains 2 positions. And Venom, bit of a desync. Killer Blue and Venom make contact. Josh is caught up in that as well. And answers on the postcard.
Well, I just feel sorry for Josh there. He just got caught up in somebody else's incident there. But you can see now Killer Blue has rejoined onto the track, and there is your championship leader there, staying well out of it there. Really conservative there, all things considered, from Medium Pilot. He's looking to try... Oh, we got a spinner!
Oh,
Venom around at the final corner and has spun up those rear tyres. He's hit the wall. I told you, he was struggling with those rear tyres, and that problem has come to full light here. He's lost the rear tyres, and he's lost a huge chunk of that front wing on the right-hand side.
Such a shame for Venom, and that's what I said 2 laps ago, even before you came on with the tyre wear. His rear tyres were blistering like anything, and Venom really being cost that. At a Herman Tilke design track where tyre wear is going to be quite key, Venom now is going to try and troop his way home. But this actually is good news for Carlsberg, because Carlsberg can gain in clear air on Venom, who is a wounded car, and he can begin to come back into contention. And in fact, since he actually pitted, I think Carlsberg's gained about a second on the rest of the field. So Carlsberg beginning to try and get into this slightly.
Well, absolutely. Bianchi here, meanwhile, just watching him as he's trying to chase down Navy. That's for P4 as they now make their way in towards turn 12. As the field slightly spreads out a little bit. There you go. Perpetum is leading the way. 2.1 seconds he leads. He's doing all he needs to do to try and get himself back into this championship hunt. Recon there is in second place. He's got himself a 3-second time penalty at the moment. That's his only penalty so far. Neo there in third place, looking to make it 3 podiums here tonight.
Yeah, Recon running wide through turn 19. He's another one I think that has got to have to try and save his tyres a little bit, and that is why Perpetum is pulling out such a dominant gap, I think. 2 seconds might not seem like much, but around here at the Circuit of the Americas, it definitely seems like an age.
Riding on board now with Killer Blue as he makes his way up the hill towards turn 1, looking for that move down the inside. He definitely thought it could have been on, but decides in the end it's not worth it. Probably the wise decision there. Of course, don't forget, in this alternate point scoring system, 13 places here. That means 13 places are point scoring finishing positions. As long as you make the checkered flag, those points will count towards your championship standing. So for Carlsberg here, all he needs to do is just keep on going. He will score points in this race. Unfortunately, as it stands, it means he'll be outside of the championship hunt. Perpetum, meanwhile, if it stands, pulls himself back into it.
And you've got to be careful as well. Obviously, with Circuit of the Americas, one safety car could change everything. And Medium Pilot, that 19-second gap, it's what, about 25, 26 seconds, I think, for a pit stop around here. So Carlsberg will be theoretically out in front of Medium Pilot when he comes into pits in about, well, 6 seconds if Medium Pilot pits before Carlsberg. So that might be quite intriguing to watch. Armide's trying to close back on Bianchi, but I'm afraid these guys are caught in a bit of a train. And because Chapelletti's done a set of mediums, Chapelletti's now beginning to catch these guys as well.
Well, they're now making their way all the way through that treble right-hander as we now make our way in towards 19 here. And making our way through, nice lines being taken by everybody through there. Now on towards turn 20 as lap 7 has started. We have 22 laps to go. Perpetum still leads the way, 2.1 seconds leading from Recon there, who in turn is 2.1 ahead of Neo in third place. So our podium positions are really spread out here. Navy in 4th with Bianchi 5th, Diamadi in 6th, Chapelletti in 7th, there Cagino in 8th, Killer Blue 9th, Medium Pilot Championship leader is in 10th place, but he started on those hard tyres. Carlsberg caught up, hitting his teammate going in towards turn 1 there. Got a lightning start off that line, James, but just nowhere to put that opportunity. He got that launch absolutely spot on, ready to take advantage of a couple of positions. Before he knew it, he's run into the back of his teammate.
Yeah, he tried to force the issue, I think, down the inside, and that was a problem, I think, with Carlsberg running into the back of his teammate and losing that front wing. So unfortunate, but it's so easy to do, I think, around here at Circuit of the Americas as well. We see a 4-car train running down the straight. Navy looks like he is bolted as Cagino runs wide, I think, going down. And in fact, he's been overtaken by both Killer Blue and Medium Pilot, which is quite interesting. Not sure what happened there with Cagino. Answers on a postcard, but he's lost 2 positions.
Well, at the moment, we're watching on with this battle for 4th place because there's a little bit of a T-word, as you say there, James. Navy, Bianchi, Armadi and Chapelletti. Now, Chapelletti, interestingly, he's on the medium tyre. Lost a bit of loss of rear grip there as he clipped the curb. Yellow flag's in sector 2, and it is Venom who is around there on those hard tyres. Actually, do you know what? I don't think there's any damage to that front wing. I think he's just clipped the curb there on the inside of either 9 or 10. I would assume it's probably turn 9. And he's just caught the rear end. And unfortunately, spun the car around. You can see he's taken a trip across the grass at least, but he'll be wanting to try and get to the end of this race because, of course, when it all comes down to it, 13th place, well, you still get 7 points. So it's worth trying to get to the end of this race. Meanwhile, then, our championship leader, Perpetuum, currently is on course to score 30 points, but there's still a long way to go in this race. Medium Pilot, meanwhile, he would be scoring 11 points, meaning that the championship lead, if it were to finish right here, right now, would come down to 21 points. And we'd be going to the final round of the season with a championship battle on our hands. But with Medium Pilot starting on those hard tyres, there is still a mighty long way to go in this race.
There is a long way to go, and he'll have to pit as well, because he hasn't been into the pit lane just yet. So that is why, obviously, he went onto the set of hard, predicting that he is going to be one of the faster cars out on track. And inevitably, he is one of the faster cars out on track, because here he comes, down the inside of Killer Blue, down in the inside of turn 11. Job done. Medium Pilot is through, and he's up into 8th position. Killer Blue will try, as he might, to try and fight this. But Medium Pilot into turn 13 has got the move done, and he's up into 8th. And I think that's now why these softs are beginning to fall off the cliff slightly. Medium Pilot beginning to pull away on a set of hard compounded tyres, which inevitably I think are going to be fresher. Venom has crashed out through the S section. I wonder if that's going to bring out a VSC or a safety car. It looks to me as if it's off track, though.
Yeah, can't quite see where that is now, unfortunately, but it looks like it's just to be covered by local yellows. Neo, meanwhile, has come into the pit lane. Maybe he was expecting a safety car and has pitted in early in this one. And there it is, safety car deployed.
Wow, brilliant.
Yeah, so great call there from Neo. We were just saying that's probably, well, if it wasn't called by then, we would have assumed that it was just going to be covered by local yellows, but the race director has decided that it is safety car worthy conditions here to clear up that car. So this now neutralises the race. So you've got Neo now has rejoined on a set of hard tyres. He will now pass the safety car going all the way through, rejoins down in 10th place, but now he's going to call on to other drivers to make their stops as well. Now, he might not get the same overlap as he might have done is if the safety car was deployed maybe 10-15 seconds earlier, where he would have jumped in at safety car pace. He came in at race pace, rejoined at safety car pace, so the time he gains isn't necessarily going to be as big as it maybe could have been, but it's certainly going to raise some questions for Recon and Perpetuum here.
Yeah, they've all got to stick to delta time out on track. They fixed the glitch where, obviously, last season on F1 2019, we had that glitch where there wouldn't be a delta time when you came across the line. Now there is in F1 2020. These guys have got to stick to that delta time no matter what lap you are on. So Neil has actually tried to really pull the... I'm trying to think of a better phrase than the one I was going to say. But I think Neo is in a position where he can come out on track probably within the top 3. You know what? I think he might even come out in the lead of the race, to be honest, because the guys are now coming into the pit lane. He's coming through turn 15. Delta time might go off. You never know, he could come out in the lead of the race. It's going to be very interesting, though.
Well, there you go then. One of the Mercedes is into the pits, and it is the race leader in Perpetuum. He's gone onto a set of medium tyres. Now, is that going to get him to the end of the race? Because Recon's done the same. I'm thinking then that they think the medium tyres are the way to go to the end of this race. So Medium Pilot comes through to take the lead of this race. He's yet to stop, though, on those hard tyres. Perpetuum, meanwhile, then rejoins in 2nd place. Recon rejoins in 3rd. And there is Neo then in 4th place. So actually, he might have actually lost time there under that safety car. However, he has rejoined in 4th place. However, he's on the hard tyres, and cars around him are on the mediums. Imad also on the hard tyres, then hard tyres for the Haas's. Killer Blue also on hards. Josh M on hards as well. Chapelele and Cugino going for some soft tyres, so they're going for a 2-stop strategy now. Everybody else, though, it looks like they're going to try for the 1-stop to get themselves to the end of this race. Medium Pilot, of course, now is the only driver yet to make his mandatory stop. What I assume then is that at some point Medium Pilot will pit in for a set of medium tyres that should get him to the end of this race. But lap number 10 has started here. We have 19 laps to go here. We are under safety car conditions. Medium Pilot leads, but is yet to stop in this race. Perpetuum is right behind him there in 2nd place with Recon in 3rd. Neo in 4th with Navy in 5th. Bianchi 6th. Imad in 7th. Chapelele in 8th. Cugino 9th. Killer Blue in 10th. Calsper in 11th place and Josh in 12th. It always seems to me that whenever I commentate over one of Josh's races, he seems to have the worst luck ever. Is anything going to fall for him?
Honestly, I think you need to get out of the commentary box now.
I think I do, yeah.
to be honest. But actually, I said this a few laps ago, and saying about the safety car, it can change the entirety of the race as a whole. Medium Pilot has stayed out. He will have to come into the pits. Perpetuum and Recon, Navy, Bianchi and Calsper are presumably going to stop and are going soft probably at the end of this race, or towards the end of this race. That begs to mind what Neo and Armady and Killer Blue and Josh are going to do on a set of hard compound tyres. Do they stick it out to the end of the race? Or are the guys on a set of medium compound tyres wanting another safety car for it to change up? This track can be quite deceiving. This track can be quite fearsome at times. It's going to be fascinating to find out how this is going to race. If this was the championship, if this race was to end now, which it probably won't, we've got, as Coutinho, I think, comes into the pit lane, he might have went on the wrong tyres.
Do you know what?
Medium Pilot...
No, I think that's a good decision from him because, remember, I think he started this race on the mediums, didn't he, Coutinho? He's now coming for soft tyres. He's now going to re-emerge on mediums. So he's done his mandatory stop. He's gone onto those soft tyres. Now he can go onto a set of mediums to get himself to the end of this race. So it's a strategy we've seen before. It puts him at the back, but now he can just focus on getting to the end of this race.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, though. He's got to have the best pace out of everyone, I think, out on track if he's really going to have to set this race alight. I don't think he has that, but what he might have is to try and force other drivers ahead, the likes of Calsper, the likes of Joshua, still in championship contention, to force them to be forced into a bit of a mistake. Coutinho is going to join onto the back of the safety car queue. But if this race was to stop now, Medium Pilot would win the championship as it is, because Calsper down in 10th, Perpetuum in 2nd behind him, he would win the championship as it is outright. Obviously, there's still 17 more laps to go, and Medium Pilot's still got to make a pit stop. So that means, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, we're going to go next week for the final round of the season for the championship battle.
Well, we still have a long, long way to go in this race. Don't forget as well our weekly schedule. If tonight's not enough for you, then don't forget to tune in tomorrow as well for the Esports Masters League, where we head to round number 2 at the Vietnam Grand Prix. And don't forget on Thursday and Friday, Divisions 2 through 5 will be broadcasting on Thursday and Friday, all at 8 p.m. BST. Apart from Esports Mini League, you can catch League number 1 at 7 p.m. BST, and you can catch the Premier Division at 8:30 BST, all in the evening and all for your entertainment. Safety car then is in this lap. Medium Pilot leads the way, but he is yet to stop on those hard tyres. Perpetuum is in 2nd place. He's on the medium tyres. He's looking to go to the end of this race now with Navy and Recon right behind him as well. You can see here, this is a consistent pace though from Medium Pilot. So this is completely allowed as long as he's not heavy braking. He's just keeping that medium pace there on those hard tyres. And I wonder when he's going to go for it. Safety car is coming into the pits, and I think he has gone, you know. Neo gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Well, they're now going to come around the final corner, on towards that start-finish line. Medium Pilot there backed the pack up and launched it very early on that outlap. And now we make our way onwards towards turn number 1. Meanwhile, Navy and Imadi are battling away. Navy's got the inside line. Imadi is going to have to go round the long way in towards turn 1. Navy trying to take advantage of this one, heading now down the hill through turn 2. The Haas has got the inside line for 2, now heading in towards turn 3, and the Renault has to concede that he can't get past the Haas this time around as he now makes his way through that high speed section. But nice clean restart here as we now make our way. We are back under green flag racing here in Austin.
Here comes Perpetuum for the lead of the race, passing Medium Pilot down the inside and towards turn 11. Job done for Medium Pilot. Job done for Perpetuum, I should say. He now takes advantage of Medium Pilot in the lead of this race. I think Josh and Killer Blue have had it coming together, coming down the hill in towards turn 10. Josh trying to get the move done on Coutinho. In fact, for Killer Blue might have had a bit of a moment. Bianchi's on the back of Neo. We're going hell for leather. I don't know how we can keep up with this. Schiaparelli is trying to go for the move on Armadi as well. Bianchi's got the move done. Schiaparelli has got the move done. So they gain up positions. And Recon's right on the back of Medium Pilot. Brilliant restart.
Absolutely. Schiaparelli, though, is on those soft tyres, so he's looking like he's going to have to stop again. He's launching it down the inside in towards 15. We've seen that one before, and he's done that to perfection. The Racing Point now up to 5th place. Saw that door open and just absolutely sent it. No regards there. Licked the stamp, and it's already gone. He's up to 5th place.
That is a phenomenal move as Recon gets medium pilot coming through the final corner as well. So he's up to second, medium pilot dropping down a stone predictably on that set of hard compound of tyres. Schiaparelli now can focus on the back of Bianchi. He's going to dive it down the inside. You know he is. Here comes the German down the inside of the Italian. Job done for Schiaparelli, surely. Yes, he's up to fourth. Brilliant stuff. And Schiaparelli is cutting through this field like knife through butter.
Yes, he's on those soft tyres and using them to their absolute limit. But the only problem is that he'll probably have to stop again before race end. So he's going to have to get every single bit of performance, extract every tenth of a second out of these red wall tyres to try and get himself as far up this order as possible as he now makes his way down towards the left-hander of turn 11. Meanwhile, Navy here is launching a move down the inside of Imadi. We're watching on board with Kalsper, who's now back into this race on the medium tyres. Navy gets the move done. Here comes Imadi then. You can see then the Ferrari, just that green bar means that the ERS is now deployed. Look at this, they're scrapping for this position here. You can see that Kalsper's using the slipstream from Navy, trying to get a move down the inside there. Has he got that move done? No, he couldn't quite get the traction down there. As we now head in towards turn 13, he's going to go the long way around as we head in towards 14. This now gives him an inside line for 15 there. There's nothing Navy can do then to stop that happening, and the Ferrari gets the position and moves up to 7th place. Smart driving from Kalsper, and he's now up into 7th.
Yeah, really smart driving, and actually he gained 2 positions out of that because Imadi was running an A. Kalsper got that move done down the straight, so Kalsper now through and he's up into 7th. DRS now enabled. Schiaparelli is already on the back of medium pilot, and you know what's coming. He's going to go for dive bomb again down the inside here, the German, on the Brit this time, and that is Schiaparelli sailing through and he's up to P3. Medium pilot does not know where to turn, and he didn't really call it much of a fight either. Schiaparelli up to 3rd, and he might win this one.
Well, let's just think about this because he's on those soft tyres. He'll have to stop again. They won't last to the end of this race, these tyres, especially if they're being driven out of their skin right now as he now makes his way through turn 9 over the crest in towards turn 10. But Schiaparelli is really on the money with the pace here tonight so far. But again, he's on those soft tyres. So can he make this work then? He's got a long way to go on those soft tyres and he'll probably have to stop again. So he's got to be careful. Kalsper, meanwhile, in 7th place. Now his next target is Neo, who's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Now, that's a bit of a vague one because unless you're riding on board with the driver, unless it tells you what you're doing wrong or what have you, you won't necessarily know. Now, the other thing is that if I'm right in thinking this, 3-second penalties you cannot contest in TT Masters League. They're normally for repeat offences of track limits, so therefore it's just a bit of a done deal. You'll have to stick with that 3 seconds to your name. But when you start to get into 5-second time penalties, you can start to appeal them. So I won't be surprised if Neo takes a trip to the steward's office, not to, put himself out of business, not to pretty much take another driver there. He'll be going to the steward's office purely because he wants that time penalty removed.
Oh, Schiaparelli down the inside of Recon. They make contact coming through turn 1 even. And now Schiaparelli gets the outside line. Recon on the inside line. Side by side. Dutchman and German. And they make contact coming through into turn 3. Recon picked up a 3-second time penalty. And Schiaparelli tried to go for a move that was always going to close. Recon had the natural racing line. Recon in 2nd. Schiaparelli remains 3rd. But as you say, with what were you saying before this after that happened?
Does it really matter? Does it really matter when we're seeing racing like that? Schiaparelli is trying to make these soft tyres work, but in that desperation, in that bid to try and get his way past, he almost cost him and Recon this race. Meanwhile, Schiaparelli now in the slipstream, looking to try and make this move, this time down the inside at turn 12. He's got the inside line, he's got the slipstream, he's got that DRS, and he now moves up the position. Meanwhile, Kalsper gets the move done then on Neo with that DRS. He now moves up into 6th place. His next target is Bianchi. And I tell you what, having had that contact at the very start of this race, the safety car is exactly what Kalsper needed to get himself back into this one as he now makes his way in towards turn 15. Can he take full advantage of this second chance he's been given?
And his championship rival is just 2 positions ahead of him as well. Medium pilot still yet to come into the pits. Kalsper, under the impression that he might not last these tyres, I should say, to the end of the race. Will be interesting to see if he can, and if he does, he'll probably finish ahead of medium pilot as well. So it might go to the final round of the season, next week, of course, I do believe in Abu Dhabi, if I'm not mistaken. Josh, about to close in on D. Everyone beginning to run a bit of a train, Carlsberg downwards, all the way back to Cagino. So 6 drivers in this train, fighting out for 6th position.
And you're absolutely right to think it is Abu Dhabi, because that's exactly where we go for the last race of this season. So I look forward to joining you for that one for sure. But when we're looking at this here tonight, we're watching on board with Josh as he tries to chase down Imadi here as we now make our way down the hill towards the flying left-hander. In fact, James, I'm going to have to correct you there. I've just had a check of the calendar, and it's actually Brazil we go to for the final round of this season. So Brazil it will be to end this championship. Recon. Oh my goodness, wow. I thought we both saw exactly the same thing happening. I thought Recon was running into the back of Chapelele there, but had enough braking power there to stop that car in its tracks, to stop it on a dime. Meanwhile, Carlsberg then takes advantage of a Bianchi mistake and now moves up into 5th place as he now makes his way in through 15.
And look who's up next for Carlsberg. It's his old title rival. It's medium pilot just ahead out on track. Chapelele did get the move done on Recon further down, but Recon was very close to the back, and it looks like he's beginning to come back into play, actually. These mediums look like they're beginning to overturn the delta time between the softs and the mediums, so don't be surprised if you see Recon eventually get back past Chapelele within the next couple of laps, I think. Medium pilot in 4th, Carlsberg in 5th. These guys, and Carlsberg will be hoping he can try and drag the whole train behind him into play as well. But he should think about himself and not about the others in behind.
Well, Bebetim still leads them, 1.1 ahead of Chapelele, who you don't want to see in your mirrors on those soft tyres just now. Recon, though, is keeping him close company as we make our way through 9, down the hill as we emerge through turn 10 and onwards to that braking zone of turn 11. Medium pilot there, championship leader, currently in 4th place, 1.3 seconds ahead of Carlsberg. But do remember, like we keep saying, he's still got to stop in this race. Meanwhile then, Josh and Imadi scrapping in towards turn 12. But Josh has the move done. He's up into 9th place. Navy, meanwhile, is closing in on Neo here at a rate of knots, heading down towards turn 12. And then Neo puts on the ERS battery there to try and extend that speed a little bit down the start-finish straight, or sorry, the back straight, I should say, to help him keep that position and holds on to 7th place. But with only a handful of laps to go, 11 to go, 12 to go, 11 and a bit if you're picky, Bebetim still leads this race from Chapelele in 2nd place, Recon in 3rd, Medium Pilot in 4th, Carlsberg 5th with Bianchi in 6th, Neo in 7th, Navy in 8th, Josh in 9th, Imadi in 10th, Cagino in 11th, Killer Blue is in 12th place. Chapelele picks up a 3-second time penalty. And was there anybody else on that list there, James?
No, there wasn't. It was just Chapelele going wide, coming through turn 19, so he picks up a 3-second time penalty. Recon sticking with Chapelele, but as I said the last lap ago, Bebetim looks like he's keeping that gap very consistent indeed. Chapelele cannot bridge that gap because those tyres are beginning to go off. And actually, if you're on board with Recon, pretty sure if he gets close enough, you'll begin to see blistering on those rear tyres, like we saw with Venom earlier on in the race. Obviously, Chapelele is going to be operating these tyres much cleaner than what Venom did earlier on, but Recon, with Chapelele now out of DRS range of Bebetim, this is his big opportunity to come and get him.
Well, lap 18 of 28, 11 laps to go. Bebetim leads from Chapelele and Recon here. Meanwhile, Cagino has a good opportunity to get past Imadi. He's got an even better one now that Imadi struggled with traction on the exit of turn 11 here. They'll both have DRS as they make their way down that back straight towards turn number 12 here. Meanwhile, Navy trying to get the move done on Neo, which he has done. Neo struggling for grip on the rear end there. Really big amount of oversteer going through. But Cagino gets a move done on Imadi to move into 10th. Navy gets a move done on Neo to move up into 7th.
Yeah, no hassle, I think, in terms of those moves being made. Navy came from an absolute mile back, dived it down the inside into turn 11, got the job done on Neo. It was quite an easy picking move, to be honest. Neo down into 8th, as you say, and Cagino up to 10th. Mediums beginning to come into play. Imadi, though, will be longer term, quicker, I think, as Recon is getting closer back to Chapelele. Down the inside he goes, the Dutchman on the German, they've made contact down into turn 1 before, and they nearly do on the exit, and Chapelele just about has the traction to carry on around the outside and through turn 2, and he's just about ahead as they fly through the Women Tilted Design Maggots and Beckett's.
Oh, he's trying to... Ooh, that was close. That was very close, but they just about avoided contact there. Recon saw that door open, and Shapalele firmly closed it there. Shapalele running a bit wide. He's onto the grass. This is a warning sign for the Racing Point. These tyres are going off the cliff. He's got to be careful. Recon is looking for that move down the inside. He knows he's losing time behind Shapalele. He knows he has to get this move done now, but he's got this DRS zone. Should he have capitalised on turn 12 instead of trying to go for a move down there, because it's cost him that time down the back straight where he really could have had a move down the inside into turn 12.
He used the overtake mode up in the wrong place as well. He actually used it on the exit of the corner when Shapalele used it up until the DRS point. Recon did not have it in operation after the DRS point running down the straight, so he obviously felt he wasn't going to be close enough, but he felt that, I think anyways, he used it in the wrong point, and he could have potentially got a move out of it. So we've got to be careful on that front. Pepetum leads, Shapalele in second. Don't be surprised, by the way, if you see Shapalele troop into the pit lane in the next 2 or 3 laps, because those tyres are really beginning to go.
They are, and you can see how much he's struggling now because Recon's all over the back of him. As they head now towards the start-finish straight, Pepetum still leads. Then 9 laps to go. Shapalele second, Recon rounding out the top 3. Calsper, meanwhile, has got his championship rival right ahead of him as they now make their way through turn 2. Onwards now we go, and we're coming up very quickly. Our turns 3, 4, the left-hander of 5, the right-hander of 6 here. Long right-hander of 6, I should say. Now into the left of 7. As we now make our way up the hill through the right-hander of turn 8. The left-hander of turn 9 over the crest, and then onwards now down the hill through turn 10. And still there, Calsper actually seemed like he lost time on the Williams there.
He did. He was a little bit adjacent, honestly, on the lines. Medium part of the second, better lines than Calsper behind him. So medium part just about getting the time. The gap is 6 tenths. It was 5 tenths, or round about 5 tenths at the start of the lap. Recon right on the back of Shapalele. It looks to me, Pepetum, if I'm not mistaken, has either just lost the time because he's saving up the ERS, which he is. He's beginning to come back to Shapalele and Recon slightly.
That could be a sort of backing off to save the tyres sort of strategy. I'm having a look at medium pilot. This is going to definitely be soft tyres towards the end. This is going to be trying to get an extra bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. In theory, it's only going to be him and Shapalele battling for that fastest lap of the race. Medium pilot stays out for yet another lap as we now make our way through that final corner once again. Pepetum, though, still leads by 1.2 seconds ahead of Shapalele, and Recon here is wondering when on earth Shapalele is going to be pitting in for his next set of soft tyres. Calsper not close enough to have a move down the inside of medium pilot as they headed in towards turn 1 there.
I'm actually really surprised, riding on board with Recon, how fresh Shapalele's tyres are actually looking. They're beginning to go off the cliff, but they're not blistering. He's keeping those tyres relatively fresh, and you can just see Recon trying to adjust the steering as he comes to now in towards turns 8 and 9, coming up over the crest, down towards turn 10. That is a very hard word to say for me. Recon now down in towards turn 11. If he takes a wider line here than Shapalele, he'll have him down the straight, and he's now on the back of him. So this is his real opportunity now to get the overtake done. You can see the overtake rope being used up. Here comes Recon on the back of Shapalele. You know where this one's going to go, I'm afraid. Recon is going to go sailing on by down the inside into turn 11. Shapalele, though, is keeping him very honest around the outside. And it's still there. Shapalele is still there down the inside line. Recon around the outside line. And just about, Recon, I think, is going to get this move done. He has now. Recon is through, he's up to second, and I do believe Cagino is still on the back of Armadi as well. They were looking quite close down the straight.
Yeah, it looked like there Armadi actually got past Cagino through there. But yeah, nice battling between Recon and Shapalele there, keeping it nice and clean between the two of them. But in doing that, they've lost time on Pepetum. Shapalele, as you rightly said then, James, is coming into the pit lane, and so too is medium pilot. So this is Calsper, and this is Pepetum's moment now. They need to score as many points as possible over their rival in medium pilot. There goes the racing point of Shapalele into the pits. There goes medium pilot into his pit box. Both of them here on the soft tyres as Killer Blue comes into the pit lane to retire the car.
I wonder if that's something to do with his Wi-Fi, because he's running university Wi-Fi, he was telling me before the race. So don't be surprised if he ended up 15 minutes worth of action out on track from him. But it's a shame he's retired, but there was 3 points available.
There was. You're absolutely right, James. And unfortunately for him, that is him out of the United States Grand Prix with only 7 laps to go. The Wi-Fi couldn't hold on for just a few more minutes to help him get those points he so deserved in this race. Josh, meanwhile, is on the back of Neo as he looks to try and get this move done. And you can see there with that DRS looking for a move down the left-hand side here, riding on board with the Mercedes as he's got the inside line in towards turn 12. And he gets the move done then. Josh is now up to 6th place as he looks to try and bid his way as far up the table as he possibly can. Perpetum leads by 2.2 ahead of Recon. Kalsper is in 3rd place as he now makes his way through that treble right-hander. Having a look at other drivers around, well, there you got Medium Pilot, 11.2 behind IMD. He's only got 7 laps on these soft tyres. He's looking to try and get the fastest lap of the race, bonus point as well, which you can get at any point in this race, in any position you finish in, so long as you take the checkered flag. That's the moment there, that's the defining moment. As long as you finish the race, you are entitled to that fastest lap of the race, bonus point, no matter where you finish. So Medium Pilot here, as he comes towards the line, it won't be this lap he sets his fastest on, although he has set purple in Sector 2 and Sector 3, so expect a fastest lap of this race to be inbound very, very shortly from that Williams driver. Now, of course, he's in 9th place right now, 11 points on the cards for him. Perpetum, who was 34 points behind now at the start of this race, thanks to that 2 points there that he earned in qualifying. It might be actually 36 points he was behind. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Shapalele, though, gets a 3-second time penalty, which means that lap he's on actually becomes invalidated because he's got a penalty on it. Medium Pilot, purple through Sector 1 here, looking to try and bid for that fastest lap of the race, bonus point. Perpetum still in the lead of this race. 30 points available for him so far. In fact, it will become 32 if he can convert pole position into the win. Kalsper then in 3rd place, 20 points on the cards for him. It will certainly shave down the order. Coutinho's disqualified from the race.
I don't know why he's been disqualified either. Let me have a check on Race Director.
Is that too many time penalties for track limits?
Yes, it is. I'm looking through his penalties. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 penalties and probably about 25, 30 warnings.
Yeah, so that makes it clearer for us then. So Coutinho disqualified by the in-game stewards for just racking up too many penalties to warrant his place in this lineup. 31.7 from Medium Pilot is now our fastest lap of this race, and now that 11 points becomes 12, and you never know how crucial that can be when you've got a lead such as Medium Pilot. Having a look at the table before this race, when we add on 2 points to Perpetum before this race started, because of course he got pole position, 180 points there from Medium Pilot will become 192, with Kalsper 2nd place in the standings, 3rd place overall. 148 becomes 168, so it's within that championship battle. Perpetum, who got that pole position and currently in the lead of this race, that now becomes 174. So it is really all to play for. This is a really, really important race for all of our championship protagonists, but who can come out on top and who can keep their cool out of all 3 of them?
Perpetum's just looking totally dominant, I think, out in front. He's beginning to pull out the gap to Recon, who has a bit of a slide coming out of 10.15 and just loses another 0.3 of a second there. Kalsper in 3rd. Now, I would imagine that Recon maybe play to Kalsper's strength, I think, to be honest, as Recon ran very wide there once again, and Kalsper will be within DRS range, but Recon has got to be careful. I think he'll let Kalsper through possibly down the straight, but he's got to be careful because Bianchi is keeping up with him in behind, so Bianchi doesn't want to be let through either. Recon is going to manage this to absolute perfection, but he is losing a lot of time now to Perpetum.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because Recon here, obviously he's teammates with Kalsper, and both of these teammates here were hoping to try and challenge for the title. Recon is mathematically out of the championship hunt. Kalsper is 2nd place in the standings right now with a chance to try and go up the order. Doesn't mean there has to be team orders between the two of them. They can battle it on the track if they so wish, but Kalsper will be looking to try and get past his teammate to at least try and maximise the amount of points he could receive. Does he get DRS from the teammate in front? No, he doesn't. Just outside of that DRS zone. Josh, meanwhile, watch out for him because he's looking to try and get a move done on the Renault here. Going down the back straight, Navy goes defensive, and Josh has to go the long way round as we make our way down towards turn 12. He's got the move done well before the braking zone, and Josh now up into 5th place here. He's had a great drive this race. He's had everything thrown at him, even caught up in somebody else's incident, but he kept his head down and currently runs in P5.
And he could get P4 as well, because I believe Bianchi has made a mistake running wide coming through turn 11. And he's lost quite a lot of time to the back of Kalsper. That gap was 9/10 of a second last time around, so he's lost 1.3 seconds. Not a significant mistake, but enough of a mistake to now bring Josh and Navy both within Bianchi's DRS range. Josh just out of it on this occasion. But coming across the line, 3 laps to go. Papetum dominant out in front, Recon second, Kalsper in third. Medium Pilot is gaining 2.7 seconds in 3 laps. Is enough, is all I'm going to say.
It's enough to catch, but whether to pass on those used soft tyres as well is going to be a different matter altogether. But, you know, never say never. Medium Pilot is throwing everything at this one as he looks to try and get as much pace out of these soft tyres as he possibly can. Pepetta, meanwhile, 3rd place in this championship, currently on course to getting almost all 33 points available on race day. Obviously, the 2 points for pole position. You get the bonus point for fast lap, and Shapalele is out of the race then. That is on the exit of turn 9. Something tells me that he's lost the back end and hit the wall hard. And unfortunately, the day for the racing point has come to a close with just 3 laps to go.
It's a shame. Turn 9 does like to catch out people, though. Shapalele leaving the session. Don't think it's going to be enough to bring out a safety car or a VSC. We're too late into the race now for that point. If it was a lap earlier, then maybe. But our cars now, the green flags have now came about, so Shapalele now no longer taking part in the session. Josh is on the back of Bianchi, but Bianchi's tyres really beginning to go off the cliff. Rear right degradation once again on that set of hard compound of tyre, on that set of mediums, I should say. Josh is on a set of hard compound of tyres. I'm really getting mixed up with the compounds here, as Kalsper is on the back of Recon, but Bianchi's looking like a sitting duck, to be honest. Josh has just got to be careful in terms of his ERS range. Is he going to go for the move down the inside into turn 1? We've seen this quite a few times here tonight, down in towards turn 1, and Bianchi just about holds the traction, and Josh cannot find a way through. He's got to serve up as much ERS now as possible, coming through the Herman, Silk, Maggots and Beckett, and now coming through onto the straight. He's just got to be careful because he's just dipping under 10%.
Papetum then gets a 3-second time penalty. Now we're going to have to check those penalties, James, because there have been quite a few dished out over the race here tonight. We know Recon has at least one 3-second time penalty. Josh here thought about a move down towards turn 11, but wisely chose against it because now he's got all that DRS here to use to try and get past. Meanwhile, that's a move we were all expecting. And that is Kalsper making the move on his teammate to move up to 2nd place. Meanwhile, Josh takes over 4th place in this race with a move on Bianchi there. And now moves up there.
Medium pilot on Imad down the inside and towards turn 12. Not hanging about, gets the move done. And he's through and he's up into 8th position and could get Neo around the outside into turn 15. This is impossible to try and pull this off as Imad is spun and behind. Medium Pilot cannot get the move done, but he's doing Imad anyways. He's up to 8th and now really pressurising Neo. He's not going to do with Verstappen, is he? No.
No, he's not. Well, all hands on deck now as Papetum starts this final lap of the race. James, just quickly, take us through these penalties.
Yep, I'll get that up now. Papetum has got 1 penalty. Recon has got 4 penalties. I can confirm for you now. Medium Pilot getting the move done here on the other Haas as well, running down the straight. He's got the move done. Oh, very late. He's actually overcooked it. Going through on Neo. He gets the move done. Imad, I think, has got a bit of front wing. Josh has got 2 penalties by the looks of it. Just to confirm with Kalsper as well. Kalsper has not got a single penalty. So Kalsper actually could be in favour of winning this race, possibly within 3 seconds. Bianchi has got 2 penalties. Navy has got 3 penalties. Medium Pilot has got 1 warning, and he's about to pass Navy, it looks like, for 6th position. Neo has got 3. Imad has got 2.
Well, here comes medium pilot then trying a little bit of a switchback on the exit of turn number 11. Better traction on those soft tyres. He's got some DRS as well. The Renault has some too, but it's not going to be enough. Medium pilot is going to try and take away this position here. It's not going to be as easy as the Renault is going to make it out to be. Medium pilot almost running into the back of the AlphaTauri, but manages to keep it clean there. He's now up to 6th place. You don't really know where to look at these closing laps. Here comes medium pilot. He thought about the move down the inside of Bianchi there, but no way through, and he's going to have to try some move in through the final couple of corners. Meanwhile then, Papetum will come around the final corner then. Has he kept enough of a gap there? Kalsper though picks up a penalty. Papetum takes the checkered flag and wins the United States Grand Prix. Kalsper across the line in 2nd place, Recon across the line in 3rd, but all it's going to shuffle. Medium pilot is up to 3rd. After all of that, medium pilot finishes on the podium, and our top 3 championship drivers finish 3-2-1. It's just great to see. Papetum though obviously getting 30 points. Kalsper getting 25 and medium pilot getting 20. Well, medium pilot's total now goes up to 200. I can tell you that right now. Papetum's total goes up to 174. He's just about inside that one. And, well, medium pilot gets the driver of the day as well. And Kalsper, looking at this, is on now 173. So all 3 drivers are still in this championship hunt, but only just. And with that win for Papetum, provisionally, it puts him 2nd in the championship. 1 race to go, and all 3 of these drivers still have a chance of winning the championship. But what a drive from Papetum there. He made that look easy, but it was far from it.
It was far from it, and to be honest, he was the most dominant driver, I think, out on track by anyone. He controlled the race, safety car didn't phase him. Brilliant drive from Papetum, and hopefully we'll get him in for an interview in just a second. Go ahead.
Well, your official, unofficial results then. Papetum takes the race win. Kalsper in 2nd, medium pilot in 3rd, and picks up the fastest lap of the race, a bonus point as well. That's actually going to take him up to 201 points in the season so far. Bianchi in 4th, Josh in 5th. Great drive from him and a great recovery as well. Recon in 6th, Navy in 7th, Neo in 8th, Amadi in 9th. Chapalele, Coutinho, Killer Blue and Venom all retiring from this race. In fact, Coutinho shows up as a DNF there. He's actually disqualified from the race by the in-game stewards because of multiple warnings and penalties. Just to put everything in perspective, let us just take you through those championship implications. So it's medium pilot at the top of the table now on 201 points. Papetum is now in 2nd place on 174. That's 27 points behind the championship leader. Kalsper drops to 3rd place in the championship on 173. That's 28 points behind our championship leader. No champion crowned tonight. It all goes down to Brazil, but all of the odds are heavily in medium pilot's favour. What a race, James.
Brilliant race, and Brazil, it will favour the champion. Remember 2008? Are we going to get like one of those?
Well, you'll have to find out and hopefully join us next week. Hopefully, James, we'll be inviting our top 3 drivers into the commentary box. And, of course, the top 3 rounding off there. But... well, I have to say, Papetum, Kalsper and medium pilot all put on a fantastic show. They are 1st, 2nd and 3rd in the championship, and it was roles reversed, if you like. 3rd in the championship finished 1st, 2nd finished 2nd, and the person leading the championship finished in 3rd. But I tell you what, if you told me that, 7 laps to go, I think Papetum had something ridiculous, like 16 seconds to make up, and he managed to get 3rd place. Papetum as well, the only driver to get to the end of that race without a single penalty next to his name, and he gets the coveted, what we called the Andy Campbell No Penalties Trophy. Yes, it's a very catchy name. Yes, it did catch on, but he gets that trophy, that honourable trophy, to take home with him, as well as that 3rd place prize. He didn't quite pick up the championship here tonight, but he'll be feeling that's a matter of when rather than if. Now I'm just going to have to cut you off just a little bit here, James, because what I have to do is now accept those people you've just invited into the commentary box. I have to basically open the door because I'm the only one with the key. So we shall get those drivers into the lobby, or into our commentary box, I should say, and have a quick chat with them. But James, well, take us through your point of view in the race now that you're back.
Yeah, really good race, I think, from our perspective. Perpetuum, Calsper, and Medium Pilot, you couldn't think of a better top three, I think, to really end us off. And with the final round to go in Brazil, 3 drivers can still win it. What's more not to like?
Absolutely. And just to quickly take you through our weekly schedule, don't forget tomorrow we have the Esports Masters League, and you can watch that one tomorrow night. The League 1 will be at 7 p.m. at British Summer Time, and the Premier Division will be at 8:30 British Summer Time. And then, of course, going through then the rest of the week and Thursday and Friday, we have the remaining rounds of the United States Grand Prix from Divisions 2 through 5. In fact, 3 through 5. No, it is 2 through 5. I was right. Have some more faith in yourself, Kieran. You're okay. Yes, 2 through 5 you can watch then on Thursday and Friday night respectively, all at 8 p.m. Don't forget as well, if you're looking for even more racing action, well, the racing never ends on a weekday. CWC joins us on League Racing TV on Monday nights, also at 8 p.m. BST, so don't forget to tune in every weekday. There's always something going on here at League Racing TV. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss another race ever again. And all the links below are available for you to click on in the description below, including the TT Masters League Twitter link. You can also find the merch store down there as well, as supported by TTML Esports. And don't forget as well, if you like the commentary team, myself, Kieran McGinley and James Head, our Twitters are down in the description below if you fancy giving us a follow. James, we've got Brazil as the final round. Some people say it should be the final round, no doubt about it. And it's the final finale for our season here in TT Masters League. We'll have 11 rounds. The championship goes down to the final race. It's been a successful first season for TT Masters League, hasn't it?
Been a really successful season, and I think across all five divisions, we've seen some great action. Obviously, I cover Division 2 and Division 5 and don't want to be biased towards any division at all that I cover. But in general, I think the action and the drivers that we've enticed in, I think, as well, really adds to the all-round league racing experience. Of course, TMC and TTL merging really has brought about a phenomenal change, I think, within the last 10 weeks or so. And it's going to be crowned off next week, of course, in Brazil. But I can say on the Division 1 stream that the Division 5 race in Italy is going to be the final round that you will see on the channel. That's going to be a week later than our weekly schedule. So just to confirm about that Division 5 race in Italy will be the final round of the season.
And yeah, season finale at Monza almost sounds criminal, yet so right. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
We'll hang on for a couple of minutes just to see if we get any of them in the box with us here tonight. I'm just going to head into the PlayStation menu, so that means James is going to be cut off from us for just a short while. Don't tell him anything. Don't tell him anything. He won't be able to hear you. But yes, I thought it's been fantastic so far this season. I can't wait for the last race of the season as well, when we head to Brazil next time out. I don't think, James, it looks like we're going to have any of the top 3, unfortunately, but hopefully we will get a chance to speak to them next week as sort of... Oh, hello. What have you said, James? What's happening? What's going on?
Calsper in the comment section has said he got a left front puncture in the last 2 corners, which we didn't spot.
No, we didn't, because it all happened so quickly. And he still managed to hold on to second as well. Well,
brilliant.
Well, there you go. His best Lewis Hamilton impression there of getting P2. So fair play to him.
Here he is. I think.
And here he is. Yes, you're absolutely right, James. Well, we'll get this started then. And the first driver into our commentary box is the second place driver of the race. It is Mr. Calsper. Calsper, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Calsper, obviously great racing out there, and as you said in the YouTube comments, you got yourself a bit of a puncture towards the end. But talk us through that race, because lap 1, turn 1, didn't go your way.
No, I got quite a good start. I overtook the 2 cars off the start. Was going to be 3, but I broke a little bit too late, and I didn't expect cars to be like swerving a bit more than I expected in front of me, which gave me wing damage. Unfortunately, it was into my teammate. So therefore I had to pit on lap 1 and either take cars to the end or hope for a safety car, which worked really well in my favour later on in the race.
Now, give us honest opinion, honest reaction, as clean as you can when that safety car came out.
I was the happiest man alive.
That's clean enough. Yeah, yeah. That's the cleanest way you could have put that. Absolutely. But yeah, when that safety car comes out, what goes through your head then? Is it a second chance to redeem yourself here?
I had a choice: either stay out on the hards or pit for mediums. But seeing how far behind I was to like the next group of cars, it wasn't really worth the risk of staying out on old hards and taking them to the end. I'd rather get some overtaking done, even if it means costing myself a position or two.
And obviously getting to that line, of course, having those battles, one battle in particular that, you know, we wonder whether yourself and Recon are in the same party with that communication there, but was that a choreographed move down the back straight, or was that a genuine battle?
It was like 50-50. I knew that I had a bit more pace than Recon at the time because of like tyres and that, like tyre temps, because that played like a huge role at USA, especially the front right where it keeps them overheating. And so me and Recon are in a party together because obviously we're teammates, so we can just make them decisions like whenever, so who pits first and all of that. So going onto the straight, I knew I had the pace, and we knew that Purperton had a penalty, and I was the best chance of trying to catch him because I didn't have a penalty at the time until I got my puncher in the last 2 corners, and that got me a penalty.
And this is the part where I hand over the mic to James for a question or two.
Yeah, I've got 2 questions actually. Obviously, my first question actually is something completely off topic. What has been more challenging for you this season in comparison to last season? Your championship win last season in TTL, or this season in TTML coming up against the likes of Medium Pilot, which you could still win the championship?
I would honestly say that both titles are just as difficult because of the nature of the drivers. I feel like this season, where there's been so many more like sign-ups to the league, there's been so many more like competitive drivers, and it just makes it that much harder to try get wins, podiums, even just to try finishing the points.
Yeah, and the second question that I have, obviously with Brazil coming up next week, and unfortunately I've got to break the sad news that this will be your final league race as well in TTML. You're taking a break. How do you feel going into that, knowing that you've still got a championship shout?
Look, I always go into like each race with like a positive mindset, and like last week I've pretty much tried to forget as much as possible last week whether I won or lost, because if I lost, I want to get that like negativity out, and if I won, I want to get that cockiness out. So yeah, this will be my last race for like, it's going to be like a couple of months, but I'm looking forward to it.
And what I will say is it has been a mad couple of months. We've seen you come through TTL. We've seen you tackle TT Masters League. Before you head into the final race in Brazil, how would you rate this season for yourself?
I would say that I could have performed better. Like, it's a couple of mistakes here and there, but I feel like it has been a pretty good season, and considering it's still going down to the final race in terms of the drivers and constructors is like really great. That knowing that there's still a fight on the cards and you've still got to fully try for this. Like, there's still something left on the table.
Well, absolutely. Calsper, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Good luck when we head to Brazil. It's slim chances, but never say never. As long as you're in the points, you've got a chance. Again, Calsper, well done in your second place, getting that three-wheeled wagon across the line. And we'll look forward to seeing you in Brazil.
Thank you.
And that was Calsper, their second place in the race. Third place now in the championship, being 28 points behind our championship leader. But I have to say, James, I'm looking forward to Brazil. The points might be biased slightly towards Medium Pilot. He's earned those points, in fairness to him. But it's going to be a huge task for Calsper and Perpetuum, isn't it?
It's going to be a huge task, but I think it's a task that both of them will relish. 3 drivers in the championship fight going into the final round of the season. Calsper and Perpetuum, I think, have got all the work to do, but you never say never. Never give up at all, and never, can-do, die attitude. That doesn't make sense, does it?
It made perfect sense to everybody. Don't worry about that one. But yes, it will have to be a do-or-die attitude, because for either of them to have a chance of winning this one, they have to win in Brazil. And only one of them can win the Brazilian Grand Prix. Who will it be? And who will be crowned the first and inaugural TT Masters League Division 1 champion? Join myself and James next week when we head to the Brazilian Grand Prix, and we'll all find out together. Thank you very much for watching tonight's stream. Don't forget as well, all the links are down in the description below. Make sure you give us a like, subscription, and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time TT or League Racing TV, I should say, goes live. Thank you very much for joining us, James. It's been an absolute pleasure to be back alongside you once again, and I look forward to next week then.
And we do it all again tomorrow for Esports Mini League.
Absolutely. Join us then. Yes, 7 o'clock and 8:30 at League One and Premier League, respectively. So hopefully you'll be joining myself and James when we kickstart things at 8:30 tomorrow night. In the meantime, though, we look forward to joining you next week for the season finale of TT Masters League. And until then, and until we crown a new champion, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.